As you may or may not have noticed, I enjoy having graphics cards. And I've always wanted one of the ICX cards once I first heard that they came out, and since I needed a 1070 Ti for benchmarking, I went out and finally got my first ICX card. Now, it's not that the cooler is particularly amazing on these cards, it's that it has 9 thermometers on this GPU, so you can measure both the core and the back of the GPU socket. You can measure the memory in 3 different places because apparently people need to, and you can measure the power delivery in 5 different places as well. So I needed a 1070 Ti, and it was only 30 bucks more to get the ICX version, and so I figured if you want to know what these sensors tell you, but you don't want to spend an extra 30 bucks on whatever edition of the card to get those extra sensors, I'll go ahead and tell you in mining, esports, and heavy games, as well as idle, what you're likely to see with these thermometers. If we start by looking at the light blue at the bottom, this is with the card idle, fans locked at 57% for all of these tests, which is 2000 RPM. Next up, literally, is Manero Mining in yellow. We can see that, of course, because now that the GPU is doing something other than existing, it is generating some heat. It's worth noting that Manero Mining typically isn't as much of a power hog as something, say, like Ethereum, but it does still produce some heat. So just to put asynthetic load on here to show kind of what a low power draw compute load would look like. Next up in red and blue are the 2 esports titles I tested, Rocket League and Dota 2. For Dota 2, I was using a custom Steam Workshop map where I could basically just let the game sit for an hour or even play without moving the camera. Analyzing these esports titles at the left, we can see that the GPU core temperature and the GPU core measured from the back, it follows kind of the same trend line as Manero and even idle to a lesser extent. The only thing that really stands out from this and mining Manero is that memory 3 thermometer seems to read higher. Jumping up again to our much more demanding game titles, we have Rise of the Tomb Raider and Minecraft. Now, this isn't just any Minecraft. Minecraft is pretty easy on geometry, so I threw 512 textures at it. Not just color mapping, but also bump mapping and specular mapping, all at 512, because why not? And I threw the CUDA shader pack at it as well. In these titles especially, we can see that memory 3 temperature is much higher than memory 1 and 2. Last and most certainly not the least, we have Ethereum mining, represented by the black line. Just looking at GPU core, we can see that once the GPU is fully loaded, it's fully loaded, whether it's computing or drawing 3D objects, because it blends in perfectly with Rise of the Tomb Raider and Overkill Minecraft. But the memory is a whole nother story. Mining, depending on the algorithm, can be incredibly tough on your memory, and Ethereum is no exception. We can see that 3rd memory thermometer is about where the high-end gaming is, but we do see a 5 to 6 degrees Celsius jump upwards when it comes to measuring on memory 1 and 2. And if we turn our eyes over to the right, we can see power delivery for Ethereum largely looks the same as high-end gaming, except for that 4th thermometer. Maybe that 4th thermometer is measuring an area near the power delivery system that is supplying extra above average power to the memory. At least that's my guess. I haven't torn this card apart yet, so I can't say for sure, but just looking at this chart and nothing else, that is the conclusion I would come to. I will make sure to update this once I've taken the card apart in a pinned comment below, or in the video description. Probably both. So all in all, these ICX sensors don't seem to really tell us anything that's like super amazing. Pretty much the GPU core temperature is the hottest point on any of these. When we look at Manero Mining, the GPU core temperature is the hottest on this card by 5 degrees Celsius. When we get to esports, we can see that the memory on number 3 thermometer tends to get pretty warm, but still not as hot as the core. And when it comes to Ethereum mining or high-end gaming, again, nothing quite matches the core temperature. So the story here is if your core temperature is under control and your cooler has adequate memory and VRM cooling and heatsink attachment, then you're basically fine. Just keep your core temperatures down and your card will be fine. While it was interesting to see just how much more Ethereum mining stresses the memory than an overloaded Minecraft, it doesn't really change my life. But hopefully if this video did change your life, you'll make sure to like this video, leave a comment below, hit that subscribe button, and keep coming back for more. Speaking of more, here's some more videos that you should go check out. Until next time, thanks.